We are on.
All right, everyone, welcome back to Stephen Paul versus the World podcast, book club, Spotify.
Spotify.
We're really everywhere right now.
We should start with attendance,
Yeah,
as we always do. Do you want to do a roll call?
sure. Paul,
Here,
Steve, yeah, everyone else.
Ben. Anyone?
No, yeah. I mean, as you can tell, it's just us two again. And, it feels like it might be like this for a while until we really start picking up some steam, but I think we're headed in the right direction.
I think we are. I think I was checking our Spotify stats this week, and I saw that we do have one view
Oh,
on
nice.
Spotify, which is concerning considering I've definitely listened to every episode, and I think you have too,
Yeah,
which means we're almost have negative people listening because that
yeah.
doesn't add up.
We're gonna have to reach out to Spotify about that because, you know, maybe yours doesn't count.
It might be smart enough to know because I'm like the uploader that
Yeah,
like if you listen to your own thing,
yeah,
maybe it might count as -1 because don't encourage that.
yeah. So if anyone's out there listening,
But I
God,
do
God bless.
feel like the appreciation that I have for that one view
Yeah,
is it means so much more to me than think about a podcast that has a million views. You don't know who's a million people. That could mean anything. You get all this kind of comments and stuff. But if you have one person out there that's listening,
yeah.
like that really means something.
And I think it's cool for them too, because it's like, they're the only one hearing this.
Right. It's
Like they're
almost
hearing information that nobody else in the world is even hearing.
it's as if there's three of us here. We got good feedback on the vaccine one from
Yeah.
someone that watched it and said that they were going to forward it to their mother to watch.
Wow.
So it was really well done.
That's how it starts.
Got real information from it. And that just that goes so much further than really anything that I could think of.
Really we've ever done.
That got me really pumped up.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about that a lot this week and
Deservingly
getting
so
into
too.
that. And I've really enjoyed re-listening to them myself. Um, you've been just a joy
Oh,
to
thanks,
listen
man.
to on
Thanks.
these. Like last two episodes, firing on all cylinders. Really the funny one here,
It's about
and it's been just a
it's about the
pleasure.
books, and the books are this
They
humorous, that pretty much the podcast pretty much does itself.
Yeah, I have had less joy listening to myself. I think part of it is just like you don't like to hear your own voice, which is tough. But I'm like, do I sound a little gay?
Yeah.
I was like,
No, I'm getting that as well. Like, I don't like hearing my
I
own voice and
think that's what
like,
it is, because I don't know a lot about being gay.
yeah.
So I don't know like how you find out or like when they tell you if you are or not. Like
Yeah.
if you get a letter, like like a Hogwarts situation or
I
not.
think it's one of
But
those things where
no one's like really made fun of me for that before, and I feel like
when that one listener, when we find out who it is, they'll probably, I'm sure,
we'll
talk to you about
ask.
that. Yeah.
Because I think if I did, people would like that's something you make fun of someone for. Like I would have gotten bullied for that. So it's just tough to get out of your head when you're listening to your own
Well, it's like we said too. It's
stories and
like
jokes.
every time we do one of these, I go back and I listen to it, and I'm just like the first one I said like in every other word. So then it's
Mm.
like the next time I'm like, okay, I can't say like so much, but then I said yeah. We just replaced like with yeah pretty much, where I said yeah probably 400 times. So now, it's like I'm working on those two things. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to get any words out
I
because I'm
l-
just going to be
you're gonna be too
avoiding
scared.
yeah.
I like the yes in real time. I think because I didn't even notice when listening, but it kind of was reassures me as I'm going that someone's like kind of keeping me going along before I'm like completely off the rails,
Yeah,
just
and I think you need
rambling.
that sometimes.
I need that.
All right, so where are we starting here? We have two great books. I'm actually really excited for this. I think this could be an all-time great podcast. Like I don't want to put that on us this early into it, but
Yeah, it's a
these
lot of pressure.
these books I think could really take us down some paths that
I think the books combined with the humidity, which is like our normal operating, kind of how where we thrive,
yep.
I think it really combined. Plus a lot of good things going on that I think we'll get to later in terms of what's coming up next,
Yeah.
in terms of activities from next weekend and
Hmm.
apparel that might come along with it.
No, I
That
mean,
I don't want to do any spoilers because that'll come next time, but it just got me getting me jacked up for this.
yeah. We're hitting on all cylinders right now.
What book should we start with?
I think I kind of like where we start with the one that isn't so off the rails.
I agree.
And I think we start with um Scott Peck.
World Less Travels.
Yeah. And
I agree.
overall, you want to start with like initial thoughts?
Yeah, so it's another one of these books that we've read a bunch of that generally are really, really good that I like reading that a lot of people probably might not like because they're not really self-helpy, but like they could help yourself.
It's weird that that genre has like a stigma with it, but it's like if you were to say they're books on enlightenment, I feel like
Yep.
there's no stigma, and then it's like, oh yeah, that sounds really cool, like enlightenment, like, but
That's
it's really the same genre.
right. Like I'll say it's people ask me like, "Oh, what's the topic?" I'll say like, "Oh, it's about like consciousness." And then they'll say like, "Oh, what does that mean?" And I'll just say, I don't know.
Yeah,
Like, I don't know how to explain it more than that. It's just really hard. But this one I definitely enjoyed. I think I got a lot out of it overall. I was confused that I guess it was like the abridged version,
okay.
which,
Yeah, it was like two separate books.
yeah, like there were a few chapters I was like, he kind of seemed like he was jumping around and didn't flow, which I think they were doing. And I Googled and it's like, I don't think you can get like the full version. Like, I think this is just the version. So we didn't like really mess up, but
Yeah,
that confused me a bit. But overall, definitely enjoyed.
yeah, I agree. I think it was another one of these 4 hour, four and a
Quick.
half hour audiobooks that really easy to get through, really quick.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the information, like the more books we read and listen to, I feel like the more they come back to a lot of the same ideas, especially along the Enlightenment. And if you're if you're still listening, there's a potential heavy rainstorm coming in, so we'll do our best to talk over it, but you're gonna get some hopefully peaceful
I
rain
think that could be
background.
ideal background. Like,
Yeah,
what's better than listening to people talk about books with nice, soft
yeah.
pitter patter of a thunderstorm in the background?
I agree. And I think a lot of people should be listening to this right before bed. Get these thoughts in your head as you go to sleep, and maybe you'll have some pretty good dreams.
Yeah, that's actually great. That's a great call.
But yeah, I liked it. I think it was short. I thought the information wasn't like a lot of it I didn't find like was like brand new information, but I thought the first part I liked. He really like broke it down into these are the four ways to
Yep.
really stay like grounded and happy and enlightened, and then broke down each one individually.
Yeah.
So you want to kind of go through those quick?
Yeah. I like that a lot. I liked how he said things that like when you hear them, they're obvious, but he put them in like really good ways, I think. That's like kind of hits home, which we'll probably get to.
Yeah.
Which I definitely enjoyed. But yeah, I like those four things, especially the first one, which I can't even remember.
Delaying. I wrote them down here because I wasn't gonna
Nice.
remember them either. First one was delaying of gratification,
Yeah.
which I think is like so important. I think that's something that like when you change from like a kid into like an adult, that's like I think that was like the hardest part for me about being an adult was like not just doing the gratifying stuff like every day, all day.
Yeah.
Like I was probably having like a pint of Ben and Jerry's ice cream like every night,
Nice.
because it's like you can, and then it's like you can drink whenever you want. You can do this whenever you want. It's like you have like endless opportunities to do those like things that but then eventually after a while, it's like they become less gratifying
Yeah.
because like you're doing them all the time.
I think that's what Stephen Hayes said in A Liberated Mind, which was one of my favorites, was like give up the short-term good for the long-term good.
Yeah.
And I think it's people struggle with the most in society because especially today with all like the instant gratification
Yes.
of like
It's
your phone
everywhere.
and technology and all of that, where like you can just tell someone you will feel so much better if you just work out every single day.
Yeah.
Don't have to be crazy, just do 30 minutes of something
Yeah.
and they'll say like yes that makes sense to me, I believe you, and they'll every single day choose not to
Yeah.
because it's kind of hard to wake up early
Yeah.
or it's just hard to get started
It's
and
easier to do the gratifying things. That's what I think makes it so difficult. Like it's harder to go to the grocery store and get expensive organic chicken and cook it
Mhm.
yourself than it is to just stop at McDonald's on the way home.
Yep.
And it's like the McDonald's is cheaper, it's more convenient, ultimately like, gives you more dopamine,
People
because of the
are,
way it's
yeah, people are
fried, but
actively choosing that in the short term without being able to think about like,
the long-term
okay, in
effects,
two,
yeah.
like even in just 1 month or 2 months, like how much better you would feel and how much happier you would be. Like
Yeah,
most people, and like it's hard for anyone,
yeah.
are just not able to do that.
And my diet's been pretty shit, like over the summer now, kind of starting into the school year, but trying to get back into it. But it's funny, like when you're eating clean like that, you get that dopamine from like eating clean. Like if you have like a
Yeah.
little bit of honey on like some bread, it tastes like the best thing you've ever had.
Not to mention the benefits for allergies
Yeah,
and all the cool stuff about bees that I can talk about for a long time.
yeah. I just got some local honey at the farmer's market the other last weekend,
You're
and
not, if you continue that, you're not going to have allergies next year.
yeah,
And then I'll tell you that bees have electromagnetic like sensors in their legs, so that way when they land on a flower, they can tell if that flower has already been pollinated or not. So that way they
mm.
don't spend like waste time on it, and they'll just go to the next flower.
Did you read a book about bees with asthma?
I
How do you know?
probably heard it on Rogan or something similar. I can't even remember,
Yeah, it's pretty
but I was
insane.
like, what?
Yeah.
Like it's yeah.
Yeah,
So
well, we could talk about that type of stuff for a while, just
yeah,
like
eat raw
nature
honey.
versus.
I think that's what Scott Peck was trying to say.
Yeah, I think yeah, just and they all kind of tie in a little bit, so I'm sure we'll rope that one back in. But the second one is acceptance of responsibilities,
Yeah,
which is a little bit of a weird one because you kind of create your own responsibilities as an adult, but I guess then
yeah.
you have
Good
to
point.
accept those responsibilities.
That's a good way to put it, because I kind of forgot what he was trying to say in there, but it doesn't even matter because what you just said is probably better. That people forget that they're choosing 99.9% of the stuff in their life. So like, and I'm guilty as charged, where you go to your job every day and complain about it. And it's like you're choosing to do that. Like you
Yeah,
could put in the work and find a different
go do
job,
something
do
else.
something
Yeah,
different. Like if you're in a bad relationship, like you're choosing to be in that relationship.
yeah,
Like yeah, it's hard. The hard path, which we'll get to, is like doing something about it, and it's
yeah,
easier to stay in it sometimes. But like if everyone was just like, hey, these are my choices
yeah.
that are leading to all of this unhappiness that I'm having, like then you can kind of take ownership of it and do something or not, but at least you stop blaming, everything else.
Yeah, I agree. Third one, dedication of truth.
I don't remember what that one was
I
about.
kind of forget
It's
too.
probably really good though.
Yeah. Four, balance, which I think goes into one like delaying of gratification. Like
Yeah,
you need to have balance in your life. Like you can't just be doing awesome shit all the time, or else it's not gonna mean anything to you. You
yep,
can't be eating like shit all the time because then when like eating healthy is gonna feel bad, eating like shit's gonna feel bad, like nothing's gonna feel good to you.
yeah. I heard a good quote that was like, if everything you eat is like disgustingly delicious, you will die.
Yeah,
Like you can't eat a
no.
blizzard and donuts like every single meal.
And it's crazy though, like how much harder it is to get things that don't taste good. Like it took me like years to end up like finding like electrolytes that weren't just like
Mm.
flavored with fucking poison. And then also like protein shakes, like those Orgain protein shakes and all those protein shakes that taste like chocolate milk. It's like they taste so good that I know that they're fucking terrible for you.
Yes, like I don't. That's why I stopped drinking them. I don't need cookies and cream,
Yes.
protein, or like a protein bar that tastes like funfetti. Like
Yes.
I'm doing this to
Yes.
try to
Be
improve. Like
healthy.
that's what's making it
Yeah.
the protein bar itself unhealthy.
So the new ones that I got, like I know that it's good because it tastes like shit. It's
That's
horrible.
how you know. But I
Yeah.
also, and I don't want to sidebar too much, make the argument that you could eat really healthy and have everything taste good. Adding on to what we talked about last time about us just being completely self-sufficient, I made ice cream yesterday.
Nice.
Homemade ice cream. Tastes good. The healthiest thing that anybody would eat in their day if they ate it.
What was in it?
Raw cream.
Okay.
Raw heavy cream from the farm.
Yeah.
Egg yolks, pinch of salt, honey, raw, and strawberries and bananas. Like a bunch of
Wow.
fruit.
And it was good.
And yeah, and so you just put that in a blender and mix it, and well, you just put it in the freezer. I have it in like a glass, obviously Tupperware in the freezer.
Yeah.
Um, and that's the healthiest thing anybody would eat on a given day.
Yeah.
took 2 seconds to make, and you could put anything you want in there.
Yeah.
Like if I was getting some mangoes or something, you could do a little mango ice
You
cream,
could do
or
some natural vanilla
I was gonna do vanilla and I got nervous.
because of the
I was nervous that like without the fruit
yeah.
that it might need like a sugar kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I was like asking ChatGPT and I got too nervous and I was like, let me just stick to what I know.
Yeah.
Strawberries, bananas, a good combo.
Love it.
And then boom,
Yeah.
ice cream, healthy ice cream, cheap, took 10 minutes to make,
Fresh.
homemade,
Yeah.
self-sustainable. We got the homemade wine.
I love it. Yeah.
I mean, that's you can't rely on others. I think it's kind of the time back.
Yeah.
You can't rely on others to. That's what the whole like RFK thing and like I think he's on the right track and doing the right thing, but like people are too reliant on other people or the government to tell them like what's healthy or not. Like
Yeah.
you kind of know. Like just eat real food, eat meat and fruit and even you can mix in some vegetables if you want. Like
Yeah.
most of the time and you're gonna be fine.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
why do
not
you
their
need the
job
government to tell you that like frosted flakes covered
first
in
thing in the
icing,
morning. Yeah, it's
special
not good for
edition
you.
is yeah, Travis
Yeah.
Kelsey sponsored Reese's Puffs aren't good for you. Like,
Yeah.
no shame on him, but it's just
Little shame.
people people see that and are like, oh, like he's a football player, but it's like you can't be relying on that. Like if that's
Yeah.
tricking you, like you're in for some trouble.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah. All right, so moving on to part two here, because
Right.
there was kind of the two different parts. Part one broke down those, four different things, and I think, like you said, it's knowledge that everyone kind of knows, but it's good to hear it again so you can kind of
Yeah.
actually like see where you're at and see
Yeah.
what you need to be better at.
Yep.
Part two is a little bit weird. It was a lot about just like love and like that like love's the key to happiness
Yeah.
and like misconceptions about love.
Yeah, there was some stuff. There was a few. The only thing I didn't like about this book was there were a few parts where he was like almost like self-advertising for like therapy and stuff,
Yeah.
which he was like kind of putting in plugs, which seemed like it was just didn't fit. But I did like the love stuff where he kind of put it in a first. It's like a common theme
It is
that we've
across
heard
all
across
these
all these
books.
books about
Yeah.
love, but he did give a few things that like kind of stuck with me. One was he was like, "Love is not when falling in love is not love."
Have that as my
Like that
first
was,
line. Yeah.
I think it was like that feeling of falling in love that everyone is like kind of always chasing and like romanticizes is like a biological reaction where you're getting closer to having sex and reproducing. So
Yeah.
like your body is like almost tricking you into like, continuing the species and reproducing. Whereas real love comes like after that. Like once that fades away and then like all the fun's over and you have to like face each other and kind of like deal with all the bull crap, that's where like real love kind of begins. And that was like, I think a good point.
Totally agree. I have that all in here. And
Nice.
even talking about like when you climax, like it's literally like you can temporarily let go your ego, the same way as if you're on like LSD or mushrooms, like you like let go of your ego and you feel like totally free. And that's why some people when they like bust, they'll literally like tell the other person right away, like I love you, like even if it's like a prostitute. And
Uh,
it's like
and that fades fast.
yeah, and it's like because you're like letting go of that ego. Um, but like you said, like when you climax or like when you're on psychoactive drugs, it gives you like a glimpse of true love, but it's like temporary. It's not like that eternal, like you said, where
I think it's in I forget the author's name, the psychedelics book, where it's like dissolving the ego is a way to temporarily access that because you're kind of putting all the BS to the side
yeah,
and you're saying like, oh, this is the things that actually matter here because I'm putting my own wall, like I'm getting rid of my own walls.
yeah.
So I think that ties back to all of that, which is
My only problem with that is like we said, we've heard this in a lot of different books and like how like, true love will put you in that type of state. But it's like I don't know anyone that's in a relationship that, is like consistently as happy as like you were on mushrooms at the beach. You know? Like I've never seen anyone like that bliss, like permanently.
for sure. I think the idea is like it's one of those things that you're never gonna get to, but like that's the goal. or like
Yeah.
like the North Star of being like,
Could you imagine if you felt like that all the time?
right, like that's almost not probably not good.
I don't think so.
But like there's also like the in between, like the journey of like, hey, we are where we are now. Like we can slowly like shed different things, like kind of like drop baggage that we're like bringing around with us that are holding us back
I can get like
and get
closer to
lighter and
that.
lighter and lighter.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, you're probably never gonna be fully enlightened, but like from where you are today to where you could be if you kind of just thought about this kind of stuff, it is a huge gap.
Yeah. It's also funny when we, talk about a lot of these like philosophers and psychologists and Freud and, the whole group. But then it's
Yeah.
like, it's funny, some of these books will like dig into their life and you'll just be like, why am I listening to this guy? Like fucking like some of them didn't have sex for like 20 years with their wife and
Um,
others were like killing themselves and it's just like why are we listening to this guy?
I have a lot of Freud talk, but I want to save it for Cat Massacre.
Okay. Anything else from this?
Yeah. I just want to check to make sure. I really like the love stuff. I thought that was helpful to hear.
Said listening is the best way to show love. I'm
Uh,
horrible at listening.
oh, so there was a few things that was like, oh crap, like that's me. One, he's like avoiding problems and hoping they go away.
Yeah,
That's my number one favorite pastime to do.
yeah,
And it's hard to argue because it has like a certain success rate where like if you ignore some problems, they will go away. And like I
yeah.
know it's the wrong thing to
That's
do.
true. Yeah,
And it kind of ties into the end, which was my favorite part, kind of, where he's like, a lot of these things are just it ties back to being lazy, and that like really struck home with me because I hate being lazy,
yeah,
and I consider myself like the least lazy person in the world.
yeah,
But then he's like, being lazy has a lot to do with fear and like fear of change and fear of like all the work that you have to do to put in.
yeah,
And I was like, that is describing me.
yeah,
Like I do fear, I hate change.
yeah,
I hate I don't hate putting in work on things, but there are definitely times where you don't want to. Like there's
yeah.
times we were the wife and I were driving the other day and we got into it wasn't a fight like at all, but it was a little tiff
Yeah.
where we were on this intersection right here and I am the worst at directions. So like the first turn, I turned the wrong way to go to my parents' house. Embarrassing. Like I'm bad at directions.
Yeah.
And she in the middle of the intersection, she's like, what like left, 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 like turn yelling. And I'm like after, I'm like, hey, um, like let's just not yell in the intersection, because we got the baby now, I might just swerve, like I know I'm bad at directions, let me just loop around.
Yeah.
And we get into this whole conversation, and the whole time I'm like, I just want this conversation to not be happening versus like if I just wasn't lazy in that moment and
Yeah.
just was like
Address the problem and talk
address the
to.
problem and be like, hey, like, what are you feeling about this? What am I feeling about this? Like, it could have been like a 2 second thing. And instead, it was like a 10-minute conversation where finally I was like, sure, fine. And kind of
Yeah.
being a dick about it. Jesus Christ.
It is. We are. I'm sure you can hear, and I'm sure you can hear even more now. But we are really in torrential rain right now.
Should we back up like 4 feet
Yeah.
just in case like no one can hear us? Because I feel like we're saying a lot of really important stuff right now. So we're just gonna if you're doing the Spotify only right now, you may want to fast forward 15 seconds there. Our lines are tough situation. Um, that might help. That probably doesn't really help that much. Look at that. That's called technology. Nice.
Yeah. And then we might just have to wait out this rain a bit.
Yeah, I
Some
think it's
dead
gonna
air
slow
time.
down. We need it really for the plants out there. A few other things I really liked about this book. Um, we talked about love. Um, Another misconception of love is like needing the other person is love. Like I can't live without them, and like fully relying on someone and having that just
Yeah.
be like a completely parasitic relationship. Like,
He said it's better to have like separate lives and separate
yeah,
things. So
like I feel like it's super important to get your own life correct first as much as you can before you start to like jump into a relationship. Whereas people will say like, I need a boyfriend, I need a girlfriend
yeah,
because I'm unhappy, and like use that as the fix. Where in reality, that's not going to fix your problems, and then you're
Nah.
just going to be dating for a year, and then it's going to blow up.
Yeah.
I said, oh, a quote, the only way to be loved is to be worthy of love. I thought that was just a good quote, something I've been guilty of before, where I feel like jumping into a relationship and just assuming that like the other person should like you for who they are, or like give you like the infinite amount of respect, where it's like maybe you're not a person worth respecting yet.
Yeah.
And like you need to kind of like improve yourself and then kind of make it undeniable, whereas they're gonna just need to respect you.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm yelling, but I mean, we need to be. This is really something for those of you. I mean, I probably don't have to explain it because you probably hear it and you're probably like, what in the hell is going on?
I love how it hasn't rained in
2 months.
the water is also really
It's
making it push
creeping. The water's
forward.
creeping in. We don't have good irrigation here in the studio, so we may get flooded. But I think we're just gonna kind of take it as it goes.
Yeah.
Um, I think a lot of it also comes back to. I'm gonna skip a few things just in case. Um, a lot of the stuff does come back to religion and like kind of using a belief in God to like guide what you're doing and how you're thinking and feeling and like your spiritual journey, which I do feel like a lot of people struggle with.
Yeah.
It's, we may, if this gets bad in the next like minute, we may pivot inside
I
and
thought,
we'll just keep it rolling. Almost can't even sprint to the door
no, not with this technology.
with technology
That we have.
that we have, unless we come up with some kind of contraption and like cover ourselves on the way.
Oh man, it's really shaking a little bit.
So,
That
yep,
sucks.
we're getting some, we're gonna get these cords off the ground here real quick as we go.
Yep.
We're gonna keep it rolling.
But
I do feel like people will say, like, oh, I don't believe in God. I don't believe in God. That's stupid. And then the second that they're in like a disaster, maybe like a flooding situation,
yeah,
the first thing they're going to do is, oh, please God,
yeah.
start praying. And all of a sudden you start getting really
That's
religious.
why I think everyone has to believe in something. And I think like we've read a lot of books this year where it talks about kind of being your own God and like you are the God of your world.
Yeah.
And I think that comes down to like, having morals and deciding what type of person you want to be and like, being responsible to be that type of person.
Yeah. And I did like that about this book. I liked calling out just like being lazy because it's a lot of these types of books might not even use that language,
No,
but I
because they're
feel like it
afraid of
really
like,
hits home because it's such a, like an obvious thing to kind of
yeah,
keep in the back of your mind. And like any of these types of things or anything you're doing is like how many corners we try to cut in our lives and how lazy we probably really are.
yeah,
Um, so I like that a lot. And the last thing I'll say, I'll skip a few things, is he did give a really good definition of consciousness, which I was saving. Said as a quote, spiritual power is the capacity to make decisions with maximum awareness. And I feel like that's big because a lot of the stuff we do is like emotional reactions to things. But if you're able to kind of slow down, big picture, and like do the untethered soul, like you are not the voice in your head at every moment, you would act differently in so many situations if you kind of had that ability and that consciousness and that awareness of it.
I agree. I like that
So
goal.
I want to memorize this so that way I can tell people what it is, but I can't memorize it for some reason.
Not yet. We need to do more books with that same definition.
Yeah, I feel like the rain is slowing down and the flooding has begun to just normalize,
Yeah,
which I think is good. It's good to know that this happens in the garage every time it rains,
it
and I should probably
is.
do something about it.
It wasn't a normal rain, but it happened so quickly.
That was insane. But I think
Yeah,
we're back on the rain just being kind of like a background pitter patter, which I think is going to add
I
to it.
agree. And
I was
like
a little nervous there for a second.
we said, we're figuring this thing out, and I think this is a good thing to figure out. Like, do listeners want like big thunderstorm in the background in the middle of the podcast?
Do you want to be hearing the weather and
Yeah,
the background noise, or do you want to just be listening to the thing that you're trying to listen
yeah.
to?
We don't know, but we'll find out from that one viewer.
Yeah, we
Who,
gotta ask that guy or girl. Should we? give a rating and wrap up this book.
Yeah, he did have one thing at the end that I forgot about that I thought was hilarious was like he said he went to some lecture and like
Oh
everyone was
yeah.
like calling out on the lecture and being like, this guy sucks, like this lecture, he's not saying anything. And then Scott Peck gave himself like the biggest pat on the back ever and was just like, you know, everyone else is wrong, like this guy's great. Everyone else just sucks at listening, and I'm like amazing at listening.
He was like, I was listening so hard, I was drenched in sweat. I was
Yeah.
just mute. I think he was trying to make a point of like
But it
to not being lazy and like you can like give extra effort to listen and do those
even if
types
it's
of
like
things.
not the most
Right.
entertaining
And then you can
information.
get something out of it. I think he was like, I got something out of it that I thought I wouldn't get out by
Hmm.
doing that. But there was a few times where he was like,
Stroke the ego a bit.
he talked about like his own patients, which I actually like those stories about like the different patients that like
Yeah,
what they were going through, whether it was like their parents or the one was too strict and she like was just freaking out about God and like
yeah,
just could only say like one word
yeah,
and she was in like a mental hospital. But then like turning it into like success stories. I guess there was a few that weren't success stories, so
no.
maybe it wasn't as bad as I remember. But
I think a lot of these books though too, like I do exactly what you do, which is like I put myself in a situation where I say like, they'll say like there's people that like care too much about things, and I'll just be like, oh my God, I care too much about things. And they'll be like, there's people that, you know, don't believe in themselves. And I'm just like, oh my God, I don't believe myself. Like, and you just kind of put yourself in
yeah,
every situation
yeah,
because like they're really generic things. Whereas like I thought in this, it was like I wasn't putting myself in those situations because it'd be like about a woman that like people that are in a mental institution that have like real problems that it's like, oh well, it's not that bad. Like,
right. It
you
kind of
know,
puts it into perspective and be like, okay, like that's what's the world you can go down.
yeah,
Just in different people will handle different situations differently. But like, if you're just not lazy in these moments, like you're not gonna ever be 100%. But like, a little here and a little there, like
yeah,
I think goes a long way, and that's what people forget about. And like, if you're doing nothing, like you're just gonna kind of turn into like a dickhead, and that
yeah,
happens to a lot of people. Where it's like if you're not conscious, to not use a good word, of like how you're acting and doing with people, like you are just a giant dick.
yeah.
Like,
And then I think they hold on to like material things. So it's like, they try to
uh,
justify their purpose through like their car or their
yeah,
wife or their family. And then it's like all they talk about. And it's just like,
that becomes your personality.
yes, it's like, that's not you. Those are things you have in your life, but those are things you own or those are,
That goes back to like Ernest Becker, Denial of Death, where that's like your character armor, where like you don't want to deal with what's going on, so you
yeah,
kind of just create this character, and like that's who you are when you're around people,
yeah,
and that like I think it's true for everyone,
it is.
and you just have to kind of like edge it back a little bit because you can't go
Yeah.
zero, obviously.
That's like that, almost like that college orientation where they go like, tell us about yourself. And you don't really tell them about yourself. You just tell them like what your
Yeah.
name is and
But
what you do for work
things you
and
do,
yeah, where you used to live or where
I,
you and it's like those none of those things have anything to do with you, like who
I,
you are.
I would never have a good answer
No.
for that. I would say like, oh, tell us a fun fact about yourself, and I would say I'm on level 12,000 of Candy Crush, and then everyone would get a good laugh. But if I was me now,
Yeah.
I'd say like I'm just a mind, body, spirit complex, like
Yeah.
just trying to grow to eternal freedom.
I'm sure you get a big laugh about that.
And then I would really have no friends. Um, but I think that's just also the difference between being 18 and in college orientation and being 35, where you start to think differently. Whereas, like, if I told all this stuff to an 18-year-old, it's not going to hit home. Like, you're just not
No.
ready yet. You kind of have to go through the phase of doing dumb stuff, getting in trouble, having fun,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden, hopefully, you start to realize, like, okay, like that was cool. And now, like, what's next? And what.
Yeah, and I think some of that's that like delaying gratification stuff too, that it's
Mm.
like, you know, you don't have enough time in the day when you're that age to actually like have a problem with doing gratifying stuff too much and the responsibility stuff's too little because it's like you have to go to school. You have to go to soccer
Yeah,
practice.
but like
Like you only have like 3 hours of the day to yourself, but like for like summer vacation, it's like I have 2 months where it's like I don't have a job. Like I could watch TV for 12 hours every single day, all day.
Yep.
And then it's like, I think until you do that for a while and you realize like that when you do that, like you lose all pleasure in almost like all activities. It's like your dopamine levels get like sunk so low that it's like you can't even enjoy watching TV. Now you got to be like watching TV and playing a game on your phone at the same time.
I've fallen into that trap and I'm
And it
working
just
my
keeps
way
getting
out.
worse.
And it's
Yeah.
harder to get out than it is to get in. We're
Yeah.
like, we talked about it before. We're like, I watch a movie
Yeah.
and I keep grabbing my phone, or if
Yeah.
I'm watching a game and then I'll be like, oh, this movie sucks.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I didn't watch
No.
like the
Yeah.
game, like a game. And I'm like, I just missed a whole quarter
Yeah.
of like an NBA playoff game because
Yeah.
went on Twitter during a commercial.
Yeah.
And it's like you just have to separate from that kind of stuff. And then I'm watching the
And
game and I'm like, oh, it's actually a lot. This is
yeah,
actually fun. Like I'm
so
okay with
it's so
this.
much better. It's like when we
Yep.
started with the putting the phone in the other room when you're watching TV, and then just like, especially when you're watching less TV, it's just like all of a sudden the TV is like amazing. Like if I get to watch TV for an hour and a half, I'm in like
It,
freaking bliss
you
because
appreciate
it's
it.
like the only hour that I'm watching TV in a day,
Did,
and like I'm not on my phone at the same time.
did I
I'm
ever tell
actually
you about my
focused.
birthday party? Like probably like 7 years ago now, where we were in Hoboken in the apartment. And I said we're gonna do pregame for my birthday, and then we're gonna go out after.
Yeah,
Anybody who wants to come, and you don't have to do it. You don't have to come, but if you come, you have to do it. Phone is in the basket
love
at the
it.
front door when you walk in, and we're watching Arnold and Lou Ferrigno bodybuilding documentary
Nice.
all together.
Yeah,
And a few people came
yeah,
and did it and had a blast doing it. At least I think.
yeah.
And then we went out and it was like you can go back to going on your phones after. And I like to think I was a little bit ahead of my time
You really
on
were.
that because I just think like if I'm home here and wife and I are watching a show together, we can both be watching the show, staring at our phones separately, and there's like no connection at all. But
Yeah.
if we're the same show is on, we're both like watching and like interacting and talking about it. It's a completely different experience where
Couldn't agree more.
if we're
You're
watching
like pausing it, you're talking about it, you're asking questions about it.
we're watching One Tree Hill right now, which is like the girliest show,
I was gonna say
whatever.
that's not gonna help your reputation with
Not at
OVI.
all. But if she wants to, like, I can get into it if I'm watching and we're doing it together because I can like take the side of like the clear bad guy and like start rooting for him, and then it becomes like a thing that we're like joking about versus like, oh, it's her show. I'm gonna stare at my phone because I don't care, and
Yeah.
it's a completely different experience where like you can kind of be building the relationship while just watching TV. Like,
And then it's like when you do get to watch your show, then it's gonna feel even better because you have something to compare it to as far as like enjoyment levels of TV.
yeah, the only problem with that is my shows are a little off the rails, so I'll usually just go to YouTube, and she's usually eventually will just end up on her phone, which is justified.
Yeah.
So the other day I had her watch like 20 minutes of, you ever hear of a theremin?
What is it?
It's a theremin, so it's an instrument that you play without touching anything. So like it looks like this like L,
Yeah.
and it shoots out electromagnetic waves,
Okay.
and you literally just kind of like put your hands in here like this, and it play and like
The
it's
waves make noise.
it's like changing the frequencies, so like
Yeah.
you'll hear noise. So I was watching all these videos of people playing the theremin and like how it works and stuff. So when she's on her phone during that,
That's fair.
I'll allow it.
Yeah.
But we'll come back to the theremin because I feel like that could be something for us to really kind of dive into.
It's tough for me as well because I also have weird tastes. Like I'm a big sci-fi guy, so I'm watching a
Mm.
lot of like Alien Earth right now.
That's what I'm kind of on is where like if I'm gonna be sitting here watching something instead of watching this like heavily produced and scripted thing, like what is like the strangest, weirdest thing that I could like learn about or like
Yeah,
get into for like a few days to entertain me? It's like actually very, very fun.
yeah. I mean, yeah. I think sci-fi is. I like never really saw myself as a sci-fi guy, and I think a lot of times you get roped in with like Star Wars and all that.
Yeah, yeah.
But I just think sci-fi as a genre is, just more like educational and cooler to talk about.
There's a lot of really cool sci-fi movies and stuff. Some are like probably equally as bad, but there's a lot of really good ones. So like that's a good genre, I think,
Yeah.
in terms of movies.
All right, so rating. We got a little off the rails there.
We did. And I have a few other YouTube things I want to talk about, but I'm gonna save them. Uh, um, rating. So I would say just kind of talking through it because I didn't prepare a rating.
Yeah,
Definitely
I
enjoyed
didn't
it.
either.
Definitely liked it. It was not on the level of just because maybe a testament to those other books
Yeah,
of Untethered Soul, A Liberated Mind, and I think there's one other that I can't think of. Like those are 5 star and a near 5 star
yeah,
for sure. Um, but also it wasn't a waste of time by any means. Like I don't have too much negative to say about it, especially being a 4 hour book. Like,
I
hey, just read
agree.
it or
Yeah.
listen to it and get what you get out of it. So I'm kind of thinking in like I'll give a wide range and then we can narrow it down and see if
Okay.
you're in this range. I think between a 4.2 and 4.6.
I am in that range.
Okay.
I'm on the lower end of that range,
Okay. What's
but
your
I had it at a 4.3,
I
4.35.
I think 4.6 is probably too high now
Yeah.
that I'm thinking about it and what other books might be at 4.6.
But I also think and this is the
But
problem with
I think
like,
4.3 is right. I
yeah,
think you're right.
but I think the order in which we read the books is like so critical or crucial to the rating that we give it because it's like you're gonna compare it to, a book, and if information repeats, then this book doesn't get credit for that
For
information.
sure.
But I agree, it's nowhere near Untethered Soul. It's good and I would recommend it,
Yep.
which puts it above four. I don't think I would like tell people you have to read this,
For
which I
sure.
think puts it above like 4.5, 4.6, So I don't think
That's a
it's in that
good
category.
good barometer. I think with Untethered Soul, I think it should be mandatory reading for every single person at a certain point. Like you have to read this in order
It's crazy.
to
Like
participate in
a
society.
lot of people are like my friend who's a varsity soccer coach was talking about it. Like,
Really?
yeah, just randomly. Like I didn't bring it up. I think he found out that, we have a podcast, knows about it.
He's interested.
He's interested, but hasn't checked it out.
Seems to be a common theme for people.
Yeah,
I've been telling a lot of people, and the numbers aren't going up.
no, he's a big like I have three kids guy, so like I can't do anything
Dude,
ever, you know.
pop in an AirPod, you know?
I know, but yeah, I mean
And I
he's
get
into
it.
it, and I think he's not a big reader, but I think like I mean I gotta follow up with him, but it seems
That's the
like
best part
it's
about
helping him a
this is you
lot.
don't have to read. We're
No,
telling you all about the book, at a
you
certain
just gotta show
point.
up to the
Like it's
podcast,
probably more beneficial if you read the book and also hear us talk about it.
which I think is like
But if you don't want to read it,
that was like Tom O'Donnell for Chaos. I think I listened to the Joe Rogan podcast
uh,
on the Manson murders and his book. And I like absolutely love the podcast so much that I think like we added the book and then read the book.
some people even say his name is Tom O'Neill.
Those people probably haven't read the book.
Yeah. Spoiler.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I'd say 4.3. Road Less
Uh
Traveled. I
yeah,
think title of the book, and I'm going to use this as a segue.
do like it.
I love The Road Less
Yeah.
Traveled. If I tell people I'm reading that, I feel better about myself, which is
Yeah.
the most important thing.
It's a good
And
title.
that's the whole point of reading books, is to just make yourself feel better
Yeah.
about yourself than other people.
Yeah.
And you can't, that's how you kill a fly right there.
Nice.
That's how you do it.
We always get one insect, one spider.
At
Something's
least
gonna die.
there was a roly poly trying to get into the wine before.
Really? Do you get them or no?
I was like kind of cool. I was like, I like roly polies. They're kind of,
Now
yeah,
he's
I
gone.
was gonna kill a roly poly. I'll
Do,
kill a fly.
do we see where he is?
He's way, he went way off. I kind
He's probably in the
of,
one.
he might be. No, he went off. But it's um on the book titles, you can't have a better title than The Great Cat Massacre
Oh
in
yeah,
terms of
and
piquing
that's
interest
a great segue.
and yep. And so The Great Cat Massacre and other episodes in French cultural history. If someone asks me what I'm reading and I can say that back to them, I don't care. Almost don't even care what's in the book.
Yeah,
And this was a good book, and it was so it's okay. It could have been complete garbage, and I
yeah.
would have been happy with the title.
I agree, and
The title got us in, but that
yeah,
gets people to read the book.
I think there was elements of this book that were 5 star, can't miss 5 star, and then there were elements of the book that were probably 2 star.
Lower.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah, no, I
one
agree.
star. So this is a really weird ranking one, but it's one that like I cannot wait to discuss.
Yeah. So yeah, obviously the high level is there. Um, I'll start by saying I really like chapter one,
Same.
kind of just a high level, like, hey, like history is written by like the kings, the elite people in every society. Like the better way, or at least a different way of learning about that culture is to see like what were the peasants doing? Like, what were the
Yeah,
poor people doing? Like, they didn't know how to read or write. They couldn't have the same written history that the elite do.
yeah.
But like, that's kind of the real people. Like, if you think about today, it's
It's the majority of people.
like if 300 years from now, the only records they have were written by like Bush, Obama, Trump.
Yeah,
Like, it's going to be a lot different than if it was like you had all the records and you had certain podcasts on Spotify that were able to be preserved
yeah.
for a super long time.
And
So I
even
thought that was like a interesting and cool way to start it. I was like, oh, I've never even thought of that in terms of like how history has been shaped,
oh, totally,
you know?
yeah. And even just the people that you remember from a time period are often the people with the big stories. They're not like, the horrors of everyone else,
It's you
you know?
hear of like Alexander the Great. I don't even know when he lived, but like
Yeah,
there was also probably a million other people in
yeah,
his civilization or
yeah.
his empire, and you don't know anything about what they were doing.
No, or what do they even look like?
What are
Like, I
they
don't even know what,
eating? Like, what was
yeah,
a day like for someone in that time period versus like, yeah, Alexander the Great did XYZ because we have some of these facts about wars and things that
yeah,
happened, but like that's such a small percentage of what is actually has happened
totally. And
in
it's
the
like
world.
when they weren't at war, like how did they spend their morning to night? You
Right. Like
know?
what do you wake up on a Sunday?
Like, were they having more sex, less sex? Were they just having sex all day? Like, we don't know those things.
Right, yeah, was it like a family unit? Was it like a
Like, if you didn't have a TV, you didn't have a phone,
like are they just
no restaurants.
no restaurants?
Yeah.
Like so are you just constantly trying to prepare for your next meal and being like,
I think
you know what I mean?
so.
Like we have to hunt, we have to like
Food, water, shelter. But then it's
is
like,
that
as
like
soon as you're done with that,
well yeah, like are you
you're,
ever done? I think back then, yeah, probably, and that's why people were having a lot of kids
yeah,
and I think a little bit of I think he talks about this a little bit was like everyone a lot of people died so young because of just malnutrition.
yeah.
Um and it's cool that like the elite people back then were just fat because like
They were eating all the food.
it was like a power move to like be
Be
fat because
fat,
you're like, oh,
yeah.
I have all this food and like I'm the only one with access to meat. Everyone else just has like bread and water, um, which is super interesting. It makes me think that like question how much progress we've really made in terms of like medical advances. Whereas like, oh, the lifespan is so much more now than it was back then. But like people back then did live to be like 80, 90, 100,
Yeah,
and they do that now. But back then, people would also just 25% of people would die at birth,
yeah.
and then a lot of kids would die just because of
Working
malnutrition.
and like working jobs in the mines at like 8 years
Yeah,
old.
so then when you say like, oh, the average lifespan is 30 years back then, and you're like, holy crap, like really it was like they just needed food. It's
Yeah,
like now we all have food. So like maybe it's the same.
yeah. I mean, if you could have avoided, some of the big ones, like not dying at birth, not having to work
Right.
in a mine as a child,
The mines,
not getting shot
I know
by some
there's
stranger
good
in the
stuff has
pool.
happened, obviously, in the medical field. I don't mean to harp on it every time, but maybe some bad stuff has happened. Maybe it's even now, a little bit.
I think it's scary because I think the bad stuff has to happen in order for you to have advances in these fields. And it's like we saw with like the Germans, like during World War II, like they were willing to do whatever they wanted to these people. And
It's Operation Paperclip,
Yeah.
which we'll get into at some point because
Like
the
they
book
were they
is
were they
somehow never available
yeah,
on Libby.
I
There's still
know.
3 more weeks.
They they were literally just like running the most outrageous experiments, just like see how long someone could survive in like, sub-freezing temperatures just for like their sh soldiers in case they went down. Like they were just treating humans like the ultimate pigs.
Yep.
But it's like they made like they had like the best science. They like the best science in the world. And that's kind of like Operation Paperclip. Is like we were like, your science is so much better than ours. Like, why don't you guys come over here? But it's like their science was only so much better than ours because they were willing to do like horrendous, horrible shit to people.
The like flight stuff, they're like putting them in planes and like testing their capacity to like go at certain speeds and stuff,
Yeah,
and people were just passing out,
yeah,
or like certain altitudes, I think, and like coming down like
yeah.
certain speeds.
So it's like that. There's this element of science that it's like I think it's like it's brutal. Like science in that field is like horrendously brutal. Even with the
Yeah.
animals, like that's not something that gets talked about a lot now. Like that was a big talking point was like animal testing and shit. But it's like you gotta test these things.
For sure. And I don't want to say something controversial here, but I feel like we've gotten almost away from some of the good science that was happening during World War II.
Yeah,
Just in terms of their motivation was to like really make advances for like their own advantage.
yeah.
Whereas now, my only fear, my my fear is that like
For
that's not the same
profit.
motivation. It's just for money.
Yeah,
So it's like it doesn't matter if this is like a really good advancement. It just has to seem like it is.
yeah.
So like the waters are getting muddied a little bit. Not that what the Nazis were doing was they didn't have the right, obviously. We'll save it for a paperclip episode,
Yeah.
which will be coming soon, hopefully. But I don't even remember why we're talking about this. But oh, like the peasants and the malnutrition, things like
Yeah.
that. That was a sidebar. But I did like that first chapter. I was like, oh, that's like a cool kind of concept to like, hey, I'm gonna look at like what all during this time period, 1700s France, what were like the common folk doing? I
Yeah.
thought that was like a cool, different kind of approach.
Totally.
So
Yeah.
I got the Nazis from that, but that was what I meant to say.
I mean, we got back there.
We got it back.
Chapter one also was like all about like the folk tales that have like
I
changed so much over
I
time.
purposely held off on talking about nursery rhymes to let you
I
run
love
with
it.
it.
Like I absolutely can't wait. I'm going to Laura's later today for her birthday party, and it's
Nice.
like if you don't think I'm gonna sit down all their kids and tell them the real story of Little Red Riding Hood, like you're out of your mind. But so like what's so crazy is like it's like you said, it's like I think a story like Little Red Riding Hood just makes you realize like you have no idea what the culture was like in the 1700s. Like no idea. Like the fact that like the ways that they found entertainment and joy and like told these like folk tales the way that they did, like is like it just shows you it's like a different world of like humans. Like human suffering must have just been so terrible that it's like the jokes that they would tell almost became like more,
Morbid.
yeah,
I think that almost ties back into like people were dying early, so like it was normal somehow for like you to have 7 kids and like 5 of them died before they were 8.
yeah.
Like it wasn't like obviously if that happened now and I don't know what it was like then, like, someone has a child die, it's like the most devastating
Oh,
thing.
brutal.
You can never ever recover and your
Yeah,
life is always different. Like back then it was like normal
yeah,
somehow, and like
yeah,
and we'll get into the cat massacre, like how it's hard to relate to these types of things where like that's why the stories got so crazy. So when you hear like Little Red Riding Hood, and this is where like Freud comes into it, where like they kind of the thinkers of today who are like now like the founders of like psychology, like
yeah.
twisted these stories
Into like very sexual.
to be like weird and sexual and like incestual,
Yeah.
which is like Freud's favorite thing. And I think maybe they were a little bit incestual to start, but
It
they
was,
took
it seemed like it was more just about like morbid, but it's like you said, it's like anyone could listen to that, and he talked about this, like you'd interpret it 500 different ways.
So what was the Little Red Riding Hood? Do you remember
So,
from his?
yeah. So
Nice.
the original story is there's this girl, Little Red Riding Hood, and she gets this like crossing at a path, and there's a wolf there. And the wolf goes like, "Where are you going?" And she goes, "I'm going to grandma's house." And he goes like, "What path are you taking?" And she says, "I'm taking this path." So then the wolf takes the other path and like beats her to the house. He eats the grandma right away.
Yeah.
Dresses in her clothes. He like slices off her flesh and then like drains her blood in jars.
Right.
And then the girl like finally gets to the house and the wolf like opens the door, lets her in, and then he like asks if she's hungry, and she goes like, "Yeah, I'm hungry." And then he pretty much like feeds her the grandma's flesh and like has her drink the grandma's blood. So like that's how it starts. Like she didn't even do anything wrong yet. So then they go into the bedroom
Right.
and she's like, the wolf's like, "Why don't you come into bed with me?" And then the wolf has her like take off her clothes and like throw it like one by one into the
Mm.
fire. And then she does it because I guess she's gullible. And then she gets into the bed with the wolf. And then she goes like, "My grandma, like, look how hairy you are." And the wolf's like, "Well, that's to keep me warm, my dear." And then like the girl says, "My grandma, like, what big teeth you have, and like what big long nails you have," and it goes like that. And like
Yeah.
the teeth, the wolf says like, "Well, that's to eat you, my dear." And then he eats her. And then that's it. So like the wolf just like kills a grandma, feeds it to this child, you
Right.
know?
Like there's no moral.
No.
First of all, great recap there because I forgot. Because credit to him for going, he went through every single nursery rhyme. So he must have,
Every iteration too. So
right.
like he'd be like, "This is number 32. This is
Yeah.
version 32 of, this rhyme and
Of
the
Hansel and
origins."
Gretel. And
Yeah.
and he told, so credit to him for spending, it must have been 5 straight years reading
Yeah.
nothing but old nursery rhymes in their
Yeah.
like original languages and translating them back and kind of recapping them for us. The nursery rhyme chapter was like two
It
hours. It
was.
was, he
I'd like listen.
really dove
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
Did you really listen to it twice?
Yeah.
That's, oh, it shows.
I loved it.
It shows.
Like I thought and that's where like I was a little bit disappointed with the rest of the book because it kind of gets a little haywire from there. The Cat Massacre was great, that
So
chapter.
yeah, so I liked all the nursery rhyme talk. I thought that was super interesting. Um, like they didn't necessarily have a moral. It could have been like cannibalism or like
Yeah.
all the stuff we're hearing about, like how that's a reflection of the culture at the time and things were brutal and like all great. Then the next chapter was a cat massacre chapter.
Yeah.
So I didn't know the book was going to be like completely almost different topics,
Which
and
I
one of
get.
them was cat massacre, and then he
Yeah.
just named the book that,
Yeah.
which was totally
Totally
fine.
fine, yeah.
Yeah, I just didn't know.
Because I mean Cat Massacre was its own book. Like somebody wrote that book.
Right.
Yeah.
So I I thought the cat massacre stuff didn't necessarily disappoint. I enjoyed that chapter a lot.
Yeah.
So I'll give a shot at recapping the story.
Love it.
And I still don't know if I fully understand
Me
it, but I
neither.
think it's something that really happened.
You're way better at understanding this stuff than me.
I don't know about that. But so basically, so we'll get into it a little bit, but French people had like a really weird relationship with cats. And it gets a little back to the last episode where we talked about witches,
Yeah.
where there was some satanic ties about the Sabbath and cats are bad luck and some other stuff. But
Just
they,
like crazy beliefs that like there was a lot of stuff with medicine that like if you eat cat brains, like you can go
yeah,
invisible if
people were
you
building walls around their house and putting cat bones in it. Like they would just
yeah,
brutally murder cats, like put them in
by the
bags,
dozen,
murder
yeah.
them. They would take their feet and cover their feet in butter as like a some kind of like luck. It was like good luck to do that. It
Yeah.
was like, dude, these people were.
Yeah. They said like if a
I,
cat went on your bed when you were dying, then it's like that person was the devil. Like they just it seemed like he rattled them off and it went on for like 45 minutes of him talking about all the weird shit that people were doing
yeah,
to cats back then.
but then like the elites, a lot of I think that was a common theme was like difference between like the elites and the peasants
Yes.
were like there were some of them that really loved cats.
Well,
So they
they
would
had
have
him as
like
like pets.
pets. They had like 20 cats,
Yeah.
30 cats.
And
Would
like the
look
peasants never saw them as like pets. They were like like alley cats. They were like almost like on the same, same level as them. The peasants and the
Yeah,
cats were like living in the streets unless you were a pet of like one of these rich people and then,
right. That's a good
and so it
call.
almost like makes them like against the cats.
That's a good call. And I think two fun facts before we get into the cat massacre story, which I liked about cats, were the origins of the words pussy
Yeah.
was from this time period where like I think it was like okay, so like an elite lady would love her cats and like treat them so well and so much better than like the peasants would be treated that
Yeah.
the peasants would kind of joke that like she's treating that cat so well as if it were her thing.
Yeah.
And then that's how that term kind of came about. So I think pussy is like actually like a French word or something.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And then catcall was it was something where like there was a lot of like people like banging each other's wives
Yeah.
part in the culture, and like you would like a guy would be kind of walking down the street, and a bunch of other guys would be like, "Where you going?" And he'd be like, "I'm going to bang your wife," and
Yeah.
like that was kind of open season. And something about cats, I forget exactly, was like why that's called a cat call when you're like
Yeah.
kind of yelling at someone walking down the
I
street.
remember that, but yeah, I forget what context it was in.
Yeah, but I do like those little fun facts about like where certain
Oh,
terms
same.
came
Yeah.
from, because and I probably botched both of those because I don't really remember, but I
Yeah.
like to,
But both of those did come from French
yeah, like
1700
so next time I
culture.
hear someone
Yeah.
say that P word, which disgusts me,
Oh, terrible.
I'll say, you know where that's from.
What are
It's
you,
from
what are you,
what are you
French?
from? What are
What are
you, a
you?
peasant in
Yeah.
1700s France right now? And that honestly, that's exactly why part of the reason why I love reading these books is to be
Yeah.
able to just throw things like that into conversations and have people would be like,
Yeah.
"What are you talking? Like, what are you
There,
saying?"
there is no joke that's funnier to me than a joke that's only funny to me. Like
Yes.
if I tell a joke that I think is genuinely hilarious and I'm
Mhm.
bursting into laughter and no one else is laughing, it actually makes it funnier for me that it's like you guys probably just suck at listening, in fact, and it's
Especially if
like,
it's so absurd like that,
yeah,
where you could just be
they
like,
don't
"What?"
even have a chance to know
They're
it.
just like
Yeah,
confused, and you would be like, "What?" You guys don't like don't
yeah,
read.
yeah,
You guys didn't read The Great Cat Massacre and other episodes of French cultural history by
yeah.
what's his name? Something Darton,
I don't
Scott
even know.
Darton, Robert
Yeah,
Darton.
I think
Um,
so.
so Great Cat Massacre. I'm gonna attempt to tell a story, and it has to be wrong
I'll try to
because
jump in, but
I
it,
only have like
it
two
was
sentences
it was a
about it.
struggle, boss.
It's hard to follow.
It is because he mixes in French words
Half
intermittently.
the book was in French.
Yes, and I expect him sometimes, like sometimes he explains what that word means in
Yeah.
English, and then other times he doesn't. So like
Yes.
one time, I remember he said something where like I was like, "Oh my God, like I can't wait to hear the answer to this," and he just goes, "It's chible or like ribla," and then I was just like, "Okay, what's chibli?" And he was just
She
like, "All
blah.
right, moving on."
Credit
Like,
to his French. He spoke beautiful French.
oh, it was great.
So there were two apprentices who, obviously lived during this time period. The apprentices weren't as well off as the elite. They worked for them and you work terrible hours. You're kind of just slaving around all day. Um, and you are going to be pissed off at the people who are kind of like showboating their
They're well.
riches and their foods and everything like that. So you kind of have that dynamic to start with. Then another layer on top of that is the lady who was the people they were apprenticing for had like a really like next level love of cats, and she had like 25 cats as
Yeah,
pets. She would name them like La Grige was like the
yeah,
gray one and like the most important, and that was kind of her like thing. Like she was the cat lady before it was like a cat lady like we know today.
yeah,
So they're apprenticing and they're getting fed up. They're not happy with how things are going. They're trying to sleep at night. All they hear is just cats meowing outside the window because there's literally 20 hungry cats that are her pets outside the window. So pretty reasonable reaction to have. Very smooth wine bottle opening, by the way.
thank you. Yeah,
Um, Pretty seamless.
the pressure was on because
Front
the
was on.
camera.
I was really hoping you were gonna open it and I wouldn't have to.
Yeah,
Um, So essentially, what they do, and it's not clear if it's like super, it wasn't like super malicious. It was almost more like a prank. They were like, haha, this will be funny. Is they round up 20 of the cats,
Yeah.
they pulverize them to death in like putting them in bags, beating them,
Lighting them on fire.
lighting them on fire,
Doing like mock
mock
trials.
trials where like they're hanging them in the town square and then having a mock trial and like finding them guilty and then hanging them.
Yeah.
These are cats we're talking about. And then like everyone finds this super funny. Like this is
Yeah.
like the funniest thing that's ever happened in
Oh yeah.
1700s France.
Like that. Yeah.
And then essentially the lady comes out and is like sees all these dead cats and is like not that bothered by it right away, and then sees the Legrige,
Yeah.
the gray cat, and then is like, "Holy crap! You guys just murdered all my cats."
Yeah.
And then I didn't remember like if anything bad happened to them.
I think you were just allowed to do that back
I
then.
think it was like everyone was like, "Yeah, that's like just like a Monday morning
Yeah.
here." So then I was listening to it and I was like, "Is this like a made up story?" And then
Yeah.
he was talking about it, like I'm like pretty sure like that's like a real verified
Event.
historical event that
Yeah.
happened.
No, I think totally.
And then people at the time loved it so much and thought it was so funny that like they would make plays of it and kind
Yeah.
of like reenact this cat massacre.
Yeah.
And then it became like the Great Cat Massacre, where it was like this is like it was almost like that day's version of like Wedding Crashers,
Yeah.
where it's like this is so funny. We're just gonna
Yeah.
keep replaying it and like quoting it.
Yeah.
It was like
Yeah.
hanging cats in the street.
Yeah. And I think it goes back to what we were saying before. It was like killing cats back then and like, you know, doing weird stuff to them was like such a normal thing. So like people were probably getting enjoyment out of like killing one cat here and there, but having like a day where you just kill 25 cats and like hang some and burn some and like do it, have these mock trials and they were like dressing them up in clothes for the trials. Like
Yeah.
they went in on this. So I could see how that would be hilarious in some ways.
He kind of touched on that where he was like, it's a difference in culture, whereas like today we're gonna look back at that and see like think about how horrible it is, but back
Yeah,
then it was funny. But they didn't really explain
it
why
was so funny.
like
Yeah,
maybe I just missed it, but like that, yeah, it was just like that was just hilarious.
it does remind me a lot of when we worked at Sensations and we were given the job to clean out the hermit crabs
Yeah. Oh,
and then take like the dead ones and throw them away. And I just remember like me and Ben being over there and just like poking one with a stick. We were both probably like 6 drinks in, at work.
at least
And then
10 a.m. shift.
yeah, 10 a.m. shift, 6 drinks in, hammered, poking them with sticks. And if they didn't move, like we just be like, call time of death, like, what was cause of death? And we just like throw them in a bag. And by the time we got outside, the bag, we like put the bag down and went to like open the dumpster and we just like look over and the whole bag's moving. Like every single one of those was alive. And like instead of putting them back in the crate, we just sort of like we've come too far,
The
like and just throw them away.
the best part about that is that hermit crabs are like notoriously like not that mobile. Like they kind of hang out a lot. Like
Yeah,
hermit is like the word for like someone that doesn't move for a long
yeah,
time. So they just see a hermit crab not move and then say
yeah.
it's dead
Oh yeah.
within
Oh
seconds
yeah, immediately.
is hilarious
Yeah,
on its own front. But that actually is pretty good parallel to Cat Massacre.
it is. And like there was
Because
something
300
actually
years from
hilarious
now,
about it.
people will look back at that and be like, "What? They just like threw out a bunch of
Yeah,
hermit crabs
just threw them in a dumpster.
into a
They knew they
dumpster.
were alive.
They were blocks away from the beach.
Yeah,
Could
and
have
it,
just set them free
yeah,
to their homeland, and they let them get painted with like green
yeah,
squiggly lines and pink polka dots.
yeah.
Just threw them out.
But it is. It's like maybe these guys had a few drinks. Maybe they got a little out of
I
control.
think he mentioned how much they drank a little bit. I
They were
can't.
boozers. If they're peasants, they were boozing.
Yeah, I think that goes without saying. I can't remember if he specifically said it or not.
So it's
I think
like
he did at a certain point.
he did kind of, and like I think he did a good job on that. That like he was like, you're not supposed to read this and get like outraged about how terrible it is, like these crimes against these defenseless cats. And like, I'm a cat guy. Like I love cats, and
Hey,
but like we can't do it with people and we can't do it with cats. Like we can't go back and say like, what was life like in the 1700s in France and compare it to what it's like today. Like if someone did that today, put them in jail for
It's a
life.
good point because I'm trying to think of how cranky I would be if I only had bread and water for
Yeah.
one day.
Yeah.
And think about that for your whole life for 25 straight years or something.
And he kind of talks about
I'm
that,
like you might have to bash a cat.
yeah,
Like if
every here and
and
there.
you see somebody just munching on steak in your face every
Yeah.
day and you've never
With a
had anything
little,
besides bread
with like a cat pet at the
with
table,
25
probably,
cat pets that are keeping
yes,
you
that are
up.
also probably eating steak at the table. And it's just like that symbol becomes like that cat symbol becomes a symbol of like everything you hate.
What did Jesus say about let thy who haven't sinned cast the first stone?
Yeah.
Put yourself in those shoes. You
Yeah.
might bash a cat.
Yes.
I can't say that I wouldn't.
So I wasn't like super just like I wasn't like, hey, these factory workers are bad guys for this.
It's brutal to
It's a
hear
little
about. Like
it
it
is.
like I like twitched a little bit when they're like, yeah, they would just like burn cats or like
Yeah.
eat their brains. I was
Or
like
just
it
like hang them. Like I can't even imagine hanging a
hanging.
cat.
It shocks you.
But I also think like the idea of like someone dressing a cat up in a suit and then having a mock trial and then declaring him guilty and then hanging him in front of other people, like that's undeniably funny.
That's funny in
Like if
any
I was,
time period.
yeah, if I was in a
Yes.
crowd of people drinking and
That's funny on its own.
that is
That's like the
that,
witch trials
yeah,
where they we talked about it last time
like
where they
throwing them into a pond.
you throw them in a pond and if they can't and tie them up and throw them in the pond and if they can't swim, say if they can float, they're a witch. If they don't float, they're not a witch.
Yeah,
So you're just continually drowning people.
yeah,
Is funny as bad as it is that it's happening
I
or
agree.
happened is funny. I'll agree with you on that.
Yeah, like throwing a woman in the pond and just being like, "Oh,
Not a witch.
not a
Next
witch."
one.
Yeah.
Oops.
Shit.
But like
Shit.
it just shows how different. And it's dude, 1700s is like not that long ago.
Not in the
It's
scheme
how
of like,
fast time
yeah,
goes. Where like I was born in the 1980s. That's already like almost 40 years ago.
yeah,
Where like okay, so then like my grandpa, who I knew really well, or grandpas, were born in 1930s,
yeah,
and like their grandpas, who they probably knew really well, were born in the 1830s. Like
yeah. I
you're
know.
not that far
No,
away.
no,
Like
you're not.
you knew people who knew people there.
Yes.
Like
And that's why I think like a lot of old people used to get a pass for like being a little bit racist because it's like it's that cultural thing where it's just like if you're racist today, like if your kid ends up being racist, it's like that's completely unjustified. Like, just because like you grew up in a time and even your dad grew up in a time where that wasn't really a thing
yeah,
unless you made it a thing. But like
yeah.
our grandparents like grew up and their parents
Mhm.
especially grew up in a time where like that was a thing. Like racism was such a thing that like people were segregated. Like it was not like you had to make it up.
For sure. I was at a clarifying point that our parents, like born in the 1960s, I do think that there were some racial tensions in
Tensions, but maybe
in the
not like
U.S.
full
I
segregation.
think that was like the end of it. That was like 1965. Civil Rights Act was like, hey, we did some segregation, some bad
Yeah,
things, are bad.
yeah,
We're gonna start not doing it. But
yeah,
then that was like the whole Martin Luther King and
yeah.
like,
But you're
hey,
right. Like
but
like
like, a
time
good
like that's not long. Like those are your parents.
right, like so our parents lived in a time where, or maybe just right after a time where like there were different water fountains for people,
Yeah, that's insane.
and I don't want to get it too deep into it, but they are trying to bring that back the other way,
Oh, they
where they
are.
have like colleges or like dorms that like white people
Uh,
can't go into,
yeah,
and it's like a slippery slope where
it
it's like
is.
that's why like the term I shouldn't even get on this tangent. People of color bothers me, where it's like, what does that mean? Like that sounds so much worse than anything else. Like why are people defined by their color at all? Like it's just a person. Like
Yeah,
I just meet someone of anything and I don't ever think about like all that kind of stuff in real life, but like once you start painting like, oh, people of color are like this, it's like, wait, what?
yeah.
No, they're not. They're all just different individual people.
I agree, and I think it's actually like cool when people have different like
Yeah,
backgrounds, but it's also like a lot of people aren't even tied to those backgrounds. Like I like that I'm like four different things, that I'm
yeah.
like
It's
part Lebanese and part
or
this, and it's just
if you
like,
ever meet someone from a different country, like it's actually so much fun to just talk about like the differences of how they do things, how we do
yeah,
things. Like there was a kid in college who was from Sweden, which maybe isn't the best example of like a diversity
Yeah,
plug,
but it was Villanova, so
but yeah, it was the most diverse we had at the time. But like he was literally born and raised in Sweden. Like this was just for maybe first time in the U.S. and like it was just fun to have him around because he was so different
yeah,
in a good way. Like it
yeah,
was like he like just
genuine.
yeah, genuine. Like
Yeah.
interesting to hear about like what it's like there and like all that stuff. So like to just be like, oh yeah, people of color. It's just like, what does that mean? Like 7 billion people of the world were just gonna like paint with a brush and say like, yeah, they're. I don't know. It's just
Yeah,
like really
I
grinds my gears.
like the labeling of it, you mean?
But like that, and that's what grinds my gears is like that's like the good way to say it.
Is
Whereas
it
like why
though?
I thought
See, that's the thing,
it
is
might it always changes.
it
It's always
changes so
changing.
much. Like I remember that with African American that I was like someone say like,
It,
we'd be describing like a kid and they'd be like the security guard would come up to me and be like, well, what does the kid look like? And I'll just be
yeah.
like, they have long hair, they have curly, they have green
But
eyes.
it,
And like the first thing you want to say is like they're black. But like I would always say like they're African American until like someone explained to me that like African American is only if you like descended from Africa. And that like a lot of black people don't consider themselves African American because they like, were born here, their parents were born here, they're Americans. They're not African Americans, they're Americans.
right.
So it's like I think that's like part of the problem is a lot of people like don't know the proper words to use, and I do feel like they
It
change a
it
lot.
changes a lot because it's like, oh, now this one's offensive, but like, why are we using these broad strokes to like define people about who they are? Like, even if you like if I meet someone, I'd be like, oh, what was that guy's like? I'd be like, oh, that's just David. I wouldn't be like, that's a person of color.
Yeah.
Like just to even say like, oh, like that's an Italian or like that's just something about them. It's not like the defining thing. Like, yeah, it's cool and interesting to talk about, but like,
I think that's ultimately something that's gonna kind of a little bit go away too. I think as like the world gets more and more just like diverse and intertwined, it's like we said, we're like not that many generations. When you get to say like I'm
mm,
50% this and 50% that,
yeah,
but now all of a sudden it's like your kid now isn't gonna be, what were you, 100% Italian?
yeah.
So now your kid's gonna be 50% Italian.
But I think that like where you're from is still like important and like cool. Like
Totally.
I love my Italian heritage. Like it interests me to like learn about and like learn the language and the food and
Yeah.
certain things. But like that also doesn't define me. Like I'm just a person who like now has some interests and is proud of that. Just like any person can or could should or shouldn't be proud of whatever they
Well, we
are.
read
And
in
like
one of the books too that like depending on where you're from, like your diet should be a certain way. So it's like if you're
and your like Malcolm Gladwell said, certain cultures act differently. So we learned about South
the
Koreans
airplanes,
in the airplanes, probably one of my favorite things
they should not be allowed to be
we
co-pilots.
talked about.
Yeah,
Um, versus like someone from Sicily, and that's like a culture of passions. Like when I
yeah,
hear that, my answers are from history or from Sicily. I wonder why I didn't get that
passion.
passion. I
Yeah,
might be the least passionate person in the world,
yeah,
but again, it is a part of you and like it's important, but like it's not like
define it.
the broad stroke of like, oh, Italians are this because like Italians and Irish people and probably some others are like the last few that you can make fun of and like culturally appropriate, which I'm totally cool with. It's funny. So you can make fun of like the mafia or like the Jersey Shore aspect of Italians or like Irishes being like drunks, which is great. But like you also don't want to just define everyone by like one thing. Like
Yeah,
if it was a different race and you just said, "Oh, this whole race is just drunks,"
yeah.
for some reason it's okay to do it with Irish people, but not with. You can't say something about certain other cultures
Yeah,
in terms of like that. But like it should really just be funny.
I think it's
Like
that
it's
comedy thing, which is like if you can laugh about things, like you're gonna ultimately be so much happier in your life. Like if you just laugh about
yeah,
everything, and I know that's like hard to do because everyone has their things, and it's like it is funny. Like I remember, like you can go to like a comedy show, and all of a sudden you're like, when a joke's about you. When like I remember once I was like we were watching TV, and I was in like a long relationship, and put on this comedy show and we're watching it together and like one of the jokes just goes like, I finally like married, my girlfriend. It took me like, 6 years and and then goes off to this joke. Like, I'm sure there's some people sitting on the couch right now that have been together for 5 years and, are really gonna like, just like turn and like be like, "You fucking dick." Like, like
Yeah,
it was something like that. And it's
yeah,
just
I
like, it
get you.
was really like, it was directly at me.
Yep.
And, it's like, I tried to laugh about it, but, the person I was with at the time was not too happy
But
about it.
you have to be able to laugh, and I'm getting fired up, and I don't mean to about all this stuff. But like when I hear there's nothing funnier than when I hear a joke about someone making fun of Italians, 'cause there's so much room
Yeah.
to wiggle with there,
Yeah.
and people do it really well, and it's the funniest thing because part of you is like, yep, that like part of that is me, and like part of it is maybe not, but you can relate to it, and
Yeah.
the people that can't do that, I think are just missing out on like just so much joy.
I think happiness, yeah. That
Yeah.
it's like if you can't laugh about your shortcomings and the things that you struggle with, or just like your background, your history, like if you can't laugh about that stuff, it's like, it's literally just gonna keep hurting you
Yeah.
because there's no other way,
Th-
Anytime that that comes up, if it hurts you, it's gonna keep hurting you. And instead of just like, I think letting it go and just being like,
Because
yeah,
then you
like,
let your personality become like defining yourself as something that's not you.
yeah,
Being like, I'm this, I'm an Italian person. I need to, where it's like, well, there's good and bad you can take from different things and stuff like that. Like you don't, every single person is different. Like if you were to go to a certain country, like just like here, there's 10 million people. It's gonna
yeah.
be 10 million different people. So like, why are we trying to do that? But I again, I don't know why I'm talking about that in Cat Massacre, but we're getting off the rails here.
I think it fits in a little bit just because like we were saying, it's like we can't judge the peasants for killing 25 cats and
Right.
holding
Thank
fake
you.
mock trials just because like we can't possibly understand what it was like to be a peasant in 1700s.
Exactly.
So like is it, like is it good that they killed 25 cats for no reason and tortured the shit out of them? I would say no.
Agree.
Could it have been hilarious though in the 1700s in France? Absolutely. I bet it was like undeniably funny.
Right. Like yeah.
Them like
Yeah.
dressing up cats and,
You have no other entertainment.
having a lawyer going
Your
up and
life is hard.
like they said it was mostly like transference where it was like they were mad at their masters. They were mad at like the elites and the rich
And
and they viewed cats as like their pets and like
we
that
learned a lot
status
about
symbol.
transference and denial of death
We
too. So I was
did,
happy
yeah.
to hear it come back up
Always, yeah. So it's like I think that element of it, like, actually makes a little bit of sense?
for sure. So back to the book. If the book ended there,
I think it would have been great.
I would have said I loved it.
And it would have been like four
It
hours
would have
still.
been a solid book. This is
Yeah,
most of the book. So most of the book was really good, and
I
this is most
agree.
of it. Then the next few chapters were more of like
There was a weird French.
other. I had trouble
Me
following
too.
where the chapter titles and like concepts themselves were super interesting. Where it was like, hey, we're gonna look at like police records from the
Yes.
day and try to um gather what people were up to based on these police records and kind of go from there. But then it wasn't clear to me like what the author was saying and adding in and like what was actually from the police record. He wouldn't be
Yeah.
like, and I quote,
Yeah.
like he was just kind of talking. So I didn't like super follow
No, it was hard. Me neither.
what was
Yeah.
going on in the other
And then he would put
chapters.
in like appendixes at the end to try to like
I
justify why he said what he said. And I had a hard time following that.
I didn't I couldn't I couldn't follow the appendix because
Yeah.
I thought at first I thought it was gonna be like a summary.
Yeah,
And I
me
was gonna say
too.
like I really like the summaries at the end of chapters
Me
because some other
too.
books have had it
Yeah.
where it's just either reminding you what happened or in case you missed something.
Yeah.
But I just got more confused
Me too.
because I was like, is he like was it like a footnotes?
I
where
think
he was like
so.
saying, "Hey,
This is
number
where I
one,
got this. Yeah.
yeah," or was he like re-explaining things?
I think it was more of like a footnotes of like I got this from Gibran Badon, and
They were mostly in French, the
yeah,
appendixes, which made it
yes,
tough.
even harder. Yeah, that's why
Added
it's
to
like
the
I didn't even
confusion
yeah, but I think they were pretty much just like footnotes, so probably could have
for
skipped
sure.
those.
All the chapters.
The
Yeah,
appendixes.
for sure. Could have
Yeah,
skipped the appendixes. There were some things I did enjoy. It was one of the last ones about like the author
yeah,
and how people at the time, I think it was like the author was Rousseau, and he's like one of the first like really famous authors, and how people like they would read his stuff and like essentially like change their whole lives. It would like emotionally affect them so much.
yeah,
I thought that was interesting because it's like people make their personalities today about being like a Chiefs fan
yeah,
or you like Taylor Swift.
yeah,
That's like two very related examples, but like
yeah,
yeah, you like computers or something, but like back then you didn't have any of those things. So like if you got your hands on like a book and he's writing like a fiction love story
and it's speaking to
and is
you.
speaking to
Yeah,
you, or even if like not like how people quote movies, like that kind of becomes your outlet or like you can almost can shape yourself around that, and people were doing that. I thought
yeah.
was pretty cool.
Also, like just going off of what
What you
you
know,
were saying makes me think of like the bar for comedy had to be so much lower in 1700
all you had to
France.
do was just kill like 40 cats,
Yeah,
and you were Dave
hilarious.
Chappelle.
Yeah. And it makes sense though. Like how could comedy be great? Like if you were to go back now and watch like Charlie Chaplin and some of these guys and like the silent movies and them
Right.
just like fake bump into
Like that's
someone and
not
be like
funny at
it's like
all.
literally not at all. But like people are probably dying back then.
But
So it's
that's
like
all you have.
yeah, so it's like the bar back then to be funny was like think like 100 years before Charlie Chaplin. Like just think like not one person could even like make a joke.
Yeah.
So it's like you got these guys like killing all these cats and put them on trial. Like that is
It's
that is a
in the middle of town where like that's
yes.
where like things would happen. It wasn't like you're online,
So I could see
you're
how
on
like people
TV.
at that time think that was the funniest thing that's ever happened.
Actually, I feel like I get it now. I feel like I didn't get it
Yeah,
before we started talking, but
and
I
now it's
get it
starting to
now.
make
Yeah,
sense.
I get it.
I yeah,
I might even think it's fun.
yeah, I mean, I think there's elements of it that are hilarious.
The
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 dressing up the cats and
idea of people getting together and dressing up cats and doing a
yes,
mock trial and
yes,
also thinking it's funny
yes,
and being able to watch that as a fly on the wall
yes,
is funny,
yes,
undeniably.
undeniably. And then it's like I said though, like that's funny now.
Back
1700
then,
France, like like they weren't telling jokes, like they didn't have comedy, they had nothing.
it's like super bad when you're in high school
Yeah,
and just loving every single joke.
yeah,
It's him drawing the
the
wieners
decks, yeah,
scene in high school, and it's the best thing that ever happened to you.
yeah,
That was hanging cats,
yeah.
I think.
I agree.
That it makes sense because if I told my parents, watch this scene from Superbad, you're gonna love it, and it was that scene, they would not love it.
No,
They would not think it was funny, but it was. I was in high school at the time
yeah.
when it came out. It was perfect. So like my culture was different then than what their culture is now,
And
and
just
that's just
yeah.
10, 15
But
years
if I was to
apart.
say, get me the funniest thing from the 1800s that's ever been written
Yeah.
or recorded, I don't know if they had that back then. But like, give me the funniest thing that they had before
But you're
1900.
spot on
It's
because
like
if you said
there wouldn't be one
1920s
thing.
and they
Yeah.
showed you Charlie Chaplin, you'd say this
Yes.
is not funny.
No.
This is horrible.
Even like the Three Stooges, which was like not that long ago, like it's really not that funny.
It's a
Like people would
different
watch
culture.
that.
People
People
at
would
the time
watch that
loved
for 30 minutes, just guys like hitting each
loved it.
other.
My dad loves
Yeah, my dad does too.
it. Yeah. I watch it and it's like
It's
funny,
okay. It's
but like part
entertaining.
of it is funny because it's old and it's
Yes.
like
The
so
noises,
ridiculous
yes.
that like it's almost not
But
funny.
then you compare that to like
Yeah.
what's funny now, and you compare that to like a Shane Gillis stand up. And
Right,
it's
but
just like,
there's
yeah, like it's or like a Dave Chappelle show skit. It's like
yeah.
it's so
they can go. There's so many different
Yeah.
avenues you can take and different things you can kind of
But
talk
you're also
about.
right though, like if you're not in that culture of like we grew up in the Shane Gillis era and like he grew up,
For
like
sure.
not that far away where a lot of the same like humor that he has, we had with the that's gay and all that stuff like
Yep.
growing up. But I could see how people don't think he's funny at all or whatever,
For sure.
but they're just like the access to funny shit now, like was not a thing in 1700s
Yeah.
France.
End of story. Different stuff is funny to different people.
Agreed.
The stuff I find funny, I'm not always gonna like show to my mom,
Agreed.
you know? And
And
that's
like,
and this is like an extreme example. Like this is cats hanging in the street and like can you put yourself in the shoes of the people at the time that might have thought that was funny
yes,
versus something that's so not funny today?
yes,
Makes for an interesting book
it
and
does.
topic, which I didn't get all of this while reading it.
And
So I'm very happy that we're talking about this.
I, yeah, me as well. And
Yeah,
I'm on the side of, I think if I was there, I'd be fucking dying.
100%. Not even a question. Now,
Yeah,
going into this, I probably would have had a different answer.
yes,
Now,
yeah,
not a chance. I would have been like the only one being like, no,
yeah,
like
yeah.
everyone's doing it. You're gonna
And
do it.
yes, and like now, I don't want people to take this as an invitation to like, get a bunch of cats and kill them in front of me.
Agree.
Now, like, not funny at all.
Very not funny.
I want you to be in jail for the rest of your life. Different culture, different time. But like at that time of
At,
1700
at
France,
the
like that was
time.
probably fucking hilarious.
At the time.
Yeah.
I don't think I have much else because there was like four other chapters,
Yeah.
and again, it was like some different letters and things about. It was kind of all a lot of the same theme of like peasants are, uprising against the elite, and that was kind of like their focus, and they had it tough, which was like totally fine. It wasn't nothing else. I don't think jumped out as me as being like super interesting.
No. I have a couple more things on the folk tales, just
Nice,
that
nice.
he would say in the book that like people were looking for like the moral of the story and like the Little Red Riding Hood and some of these stories or Jack and the Beanstalk and they'd be
Yeah,
like, what's the moral of the story? And everyone come up with their like own moral of the story and like some psychologists would be saying like wild shit about like it's about a girl losing her virginity or getting her period and that's why it's like a
Red
little
Hood.
red hood
That's why we
and
wear
like
red hats.
yeah and he
Yeah.
and he was saying like the moral of the story was more to just like be careful of like psychoanalysis because it's like these guys are saying whatever the hell they want and
It
it's
is
like no way to prove it.
weird, and we'll get into it. Like we have some Freud books that are like exposing Freud that we'll read eventually. That like him and some other guys just like said a bunch of stuff, and now it's like kind of the framework for like how everyone does everything.
Yeah.
It's like really weird.
And like
I can't wait to get into that. And
I think a lot of that like you're in love with your mother and you want to kill your father stuff. I think that really falls into the category of me of like you can't prove that that's like not true. So then people just kind of be like, hey, maybe it is true, but it's like but like nobody's going around and killing their father and then proposing to their mother. And
so I don't want to kill my father, but I definitely love my mother, especially as a kid.
like a
Like,
psychopath, like if you were actually a psychopath and you didn't see like consequences and stuff,
right.
and that was actually the case for every person, they would be doing that. They'd be killing their father because they have no remorse, and then they'd be like, "All right, mother, I want you to like marry me."
It might have been different in the way olden days of like the Oedipus days when that like kind of first came about, where if you were a son and your father was almost like a threat to you because like you wanted to be the one to be like the leader or something.
Yeah,
Whereas like today, like when I was 6 and if I fell asleep in the car, my dad carried me to bed.
yeah,
My mom came up to tuck me in and gave me a kiss goodnight. Nothing better.
yeah,
And I don't want to kill anybody. I don't think any of that's weird.
yeah.
I just want to, that's like the best time.
It's a good shout out.
That's the best time. So like to make, and that's like a normal
Kid.
kid
Yeah,
relationship with their
same.
parents. So like to have Freud kind of try to take that and make it weird
Like
is weird.
you better have some convincing evidence to the contrary, which I don't think
Like
he
make
does.
yeah, like why would you make something so pure like that? Like, and
Yeah,
I can't wait to do that with like my own child. Like, why would you make that weird unless you were super weird? It's like, why are we listening to you?
yeah,
So we'll unravel Freud soon,
yeah.
hopefully soon.
And then the last thing I got here is another folktale. This is, about a topic we talk about a lot here. Um, this one was about this folktale was called The Jew Among the Thorns. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, I mean,
So it was this hardworking Jew, quote, hardworking Jew.
well,
He gave this like lazy dwarf his money because the dwarf was just like, you could still work. Like, I'm old and I'm a dwarf, like I can't work, so like, can I have your money?
right.
And this hardworking Jew is like, you know what? You can, because I'll get another job because the hardworking guy.
Nice.
Yeah,
So far, so good.
totally. Then the dwarf is like, I'm gonna give you three wishes. Because I guess this turned out to be a magic dwarf.
Dwarves can always grant wishes. That
Yeah.
goes without saying.
So then the dwarf gives him three wishes. The first one is he asks for a fiddle because he wants to make everyone dance every time he plays his fiddle.
Right, yeah.
Second one was a gun that's gonna hit everything he shoots at. So it's like that's pretty good too.
Nice.
And then the last one is that he always gets his favors granted, which
Mm.
I thought is really interesting. Like the culture of like, I think the Jewish culture of like, giving favors and like a lot of Jewish people will really always try to hire other Jewish people, you know, as a favor, if you will. But I just think
I,
if
there's a element where I think Malcolm Gladwell even talked about it, where certain like they stick together pretty well.
yeah. So like that cultural aspect, and then when you think like if you compare that Jewish folktale to like Little Red Riding Hood, it's like, do we ever have a chance? Like we grew up hearing Little Red
Mm,
Riding Hood, where a lot of these Jewish people probably heard like stories like that. It's like, I'm hearing about this wolf, tricking this little girl and then eating her.
cool.
And then this young Jewish boy is probably hearing about like this hardworking guy, that did really a lot of hard work, and then he was granted three wishes, and
For
then
sure.
so it's like
It's gonna lead to differences.
yes, like those
Yeah,
cultural differences I find interesting.
they add up and they matter across because that's like what as you're a little kid, if that's what you're thinking about, it kind of just gets into your subconscious where like
Yes.
that's you just kind of keep doing it without thinking about it.
And it goes to like the peasants where it's like they're going around killing cats, and it's like, we're pretty much descendants of these peasants, you know?
Yeah, I mean the French played a big role even in the 1700s about on America's founding.
Yeah.
I don't think we would have won the Revolutionary War without their help. I think that goes without saying.
Yeah.
So there's a lot about French culture that's intertwined in American culture. We learned about catcall and some other things today.
Yeah.
Talk about French fries,
Love it.
French some other things. But yeah, it is interesting to kind of think about how different cultures are and how there are a lot of similarities, but like little things like not little, but like nuances like that, like
Could make like a
they're so different.
tremendous difference, Like if you're from a
Yeah,
culture that values like those are all good things. Those are all like great things. It's like you like to have a good time because you want to make people dance. Like that's
I'm on board.
on board.
Okay, check,
You want like your favors to be granted. It's like that's our thing of like we're in a community
check.
together. Like we're in a little commune. We're all doing favors for each other
Yeah,
and we're looking after each other. And then like gun, shoot anything that you want and it'll die. It's like that's good for hunting. That's good for protecting
check.
yourself. It's like,
Double check.
yeah. And then you think it's like, okay, if I heard those stories as a kid, I'm gonna grow up, I'm gonna be hardworking.
Hardworking.
I'm gonna try to get some people to do some favors for me. You
And
know?
we also do favors for others probably
Yes,
too,
yes, because you're
because you
hardworking.
know it's gonna go both ways, which I
Yes,
think that could be the moral of the story.
yeah. So
Uh,
it's like I think that has like such a good, helpful,
yeah,
connotation. Whereas like these peasants, man, like with the Little Red Riding Hood, and it's like every story, like Duck Duck Goose was like freaking brutal, like the original.
Yeah,
Like it's every single one of those stories, and it's because they all came from like really poor peasants that
that was just their life.
yes, and they didn't ever think they weren't going to be poor peasants, or that their kids didn't think they weren't going to be poor peasants, which is I think like different in different cultures. Like I think some cultures actually believe that like if we work hard enough, we can
I think
do whatever we want.
that was just normal to them. They weren't sitting down trying to say like, I'm gonna write this messed up thing.
Yeah,
Whereas like today, everything's so good that someone sits down and says, I'm gonna write a horror movie about like
yeah,
the
yeah,
most messed up thing I can think of. It was like this was just like them talking about their everyday lives,
yeah.
which is interesting to hear about because you don't normally do, which is why the part of the book I really enjoyed for sure. So maybe we should move to a rating.
Okay.
Unless you had other no, I didn't have any other notes
No, I'm
or
good with
thoughts.
same. I
It's a hard one to rate.
It is because it's like I said, I think the first 4.5 hours of the book, I would give I would give 5 stars. The folktale stuff, it's like we always talk about like what's something that you would tell other people to read, what's something that you would talk
Yes,
about in conversation. Like I can't wait to tell everyone like that's not the real story when they try to tell me about Duck Duck
for
Goose.
sure. But the rest of the book is probably a one, but I don't think averaging that is fair
No.
at all. Like
I think
I very
it's
much enjoyed it. The Great Cat Massacre.
yeah,
If someone out of all the books we've read, that might be the most excited title
I
I've
agree.
wanted to tell people that I'm reading. Um, but agree that like the first 40% of the book was so much better than the second 60% of the book,
Totally agree.
which is fine. That's the only thing that makes it hard to rate. Is like, do you rate it based on its awesomeness at
Yeah.
times, or do you do like a bigger picture type of thing?
I think you and like I know we got into this discussion last time about like your enjoyment factor versus like what you learn and all
Yep.
this stuff. I view it as, how much did I enjoy this book? And I still enjoyed it a lot, even though,
Hmm.
like you said, I think the last like 4 hours, 5 hours was a little bit of a grind.
I'm gonna throw out a number.
I wrote one down here,
Oh,
so
do you want me to say it? You
yeah, say it
want
out
to
loud
see how
and
close it is to yours?
give me a range here first.
I'm just gonna say it because it's a very general number,
Okay,
but I think it'll help kind of guide the rest. Is 4.5.
okay. So I wrote down 4.35, so not too far
Yeah,
away.
four
Yeah,
four
might
might
be
be right.
perfect. I think that is
That might be right.
because I think that you have to 4.5 is like if something's a 4.6 or a 4.7, I'm gonna push for 5 stars. And I don't think I can push for 5 stars with this. Like it
No,
wasn't
no,
on a Steppenwolf level, even though I
no.
think the first half of the book was. If
I
the first if they just ended at 5 hours, would that
when I think of 5-star books, you know they are, and then when I think about the next tier, I think about Bad Blood, Rape of Nanking, maybe Chaos, and some of the other books that weren't quite five.
yeah,
And this was not that.
no.
It wasn't a Bad Blood, and it wasn't a Nanking, but like nothing bad is nothing against it because those are awesome books. So I think 4.4 is exactly where you want to be. So 4.3 and a 4.4 in one meeting is
I
about as good as it can get.
and I was looking forward to this meeting because I think that one, two really good books.
Yeah,
Two, big changes in the book club, just in terms of got things coming up.
big things coming.
I
We sh-
think now's a good time to probably break those down.
should we really quick talk about we had an awesome weekend last weekend. The boys got together with one of the long lost book club members whose attendance has been shoddy,
Shot it.
but we went over to his house and we had a great pool day.
Yeah,
We drank some beers. We had the kids over. Some golf balls were hit. Some pool
yeah,
basketball was shot. Great day. So I
so
think it's worth mentioning.
yeah, special shout out to Ben, Benny
We'd
Hannes.
love to see you in person on one of these. Shout out to your house, beautiful house.
Yeah,
You're clearly doing great. and we just wish nothing but the best for you. But we love to see you here
Yep.
in person, right
Yeah.
here.
What else we got? So every year, for really just one year, we've entered a cornhole tournament
Annual
in
tradition.
September. Yep.
Might be the biggest event. I can't think of a bigger event I've had in my life
Yeah.
this year than the upcoming tournament next weekend.
So here's where I'll start. I'll say first off, it's nearly impossible to not get fucking blackout drunk at it. Like the way that it's set up, you get there at like 10 in the morning. Then they have this food truck that's not actually a food truck.
It's a beer truck.
It's a beer truck. It's just bar, alcohol, multiple bartenders. You can go to either side, so it's like you're not waiting for
So
drinks.
this is a 64 team tournament.
Yes.
So here's where I'm
And you
nervous.
pay like $150. So there's a little part of you too deep down that's like, I gotta drink my money's worth, you know?
You got to drink your money's worth, but the prize for me, I don't care about. I want to win for the,
Physical trophy.
yes, the recognition
Yes.
and the honor of winning that tournament.
Same.
And I'm nervous.
I would make a pledge now that if we do win, we donate the money.
100%.
Yeah. Like I don't want your money. I just want to win the tournament.
I said we take whatever cause it's for, donate to something completely different.
Yeah.
No, I think that's a good pledge. I think we should talk a little strategy
I agree.
because the last time we got too nervous early and we lost our first game, so we had to go to the losers bracket,
Yeah.
which is fine. Because then we won our next 4 games and we kind of were pretty much the hottest team there. And
Yeah.
then we let some of the drinks get the best of us and
Mostly,
we
yeah.
lost against a really good team, which is okay in I don't know what round, but I say we switch up our strategy this year and we win our first few games.
Love it.
And if we can win and get to the 32-16
Yeah.
range, then we have one loss to work with. So like we got our first game was tough against a top 10 team
Yeah.
from the year before. But I think if we can get that win
Yeah.
first,
Yeah.
it's gonna change the whole day. So
Totally.
I won't be nervous. I was nervous
Yeah.
last time.
You want one under you, but you also like
Mm.
last year I look at it like a lot like these NBA teams that make the playoffs like for the first time, they're just kind of happy to be there. Like last year we were just happy to be there. We were taking it
Last year we
in.
were the
We were having a
Thunder
good
2 years
time.
ago.
Yes.
This year we're the Thunder now.
Yes. It's like this year it's a total business trip for me. Like I might not even drink. Like I might
What is that worse? Like, do you need to have like 2 drinks?
I think so. I'll probably have a coach with me that day and just make
Should
sure
we
that
hire someone?
yeah, make sure they keep me at exactly between 2 and 3 beers. So like they'll have like a timer in their pocket, and
I
like
like that.
yeah,
I like that a lot 'cause I'm gonna need it.
yeah.
Because socially, you're in between games and you need the social lubricant a little bit, so it makes
But
you
this
want to
year it's like
drink.
I don't even care about that.
I might just in between games like just go sit under the tent in the
Same,
picnic
like
tables
cool
and
off.
not
Yeah,
talk to anyone.
that's pretty much like
Just
Billy was
stare
saying.
into the
Like there
woods.
used to be like pros that would go to that, and that's what they would do. Like in between every game, they would just go and like sit in the shade
That might be
and
what we
like
have to do.
listen to a book.
I
And
was
it,
gonna say I just go
yeah,
and read.
yeah. And I honestly think that's like, yeah, I mean, if we want to be competitive in this, like I
But we have
cannot,
to say like, okay, drinking then is second, winning's first.
yes,
But like,
like last
are we
year,
gonna get caught up in the hype?
I know,
Everybody's out.
scared.
Everybody's having a good time.
I know.
It's rumpus time.
I think about Doug and it's like how drunk Doug
He
was
got drunk in 10 minutes, and
in round
he
two.
what did he go 1-1-2? Like
Yes.
at least we ended up 4-2.
And like Doug, I've seen drank like an entire glass of vodka before, like on the rocks. Like Doug has a tolerance that's absurd.
My tolerance is so much worse this year than last
Yeah.
year.
So the fact that like he was that drunk at like 11:30 in the morning, like just shows you the culture of drinking there, that it's just like
I
he
would
must have
s-
started off with like five
I
shots
would say we could just try to get everybody really drunk,
and
but
then fake drink.
I want to win for real.
Me
I don't
too.
want to sabotage. I don't want to do that.
Earn this thing.
I want to earn it. I want to. I've been thinking about it every day since
Yeah.
last year.
Yeah.
Um, so excited.
So we'll keep you guys updated on that. I'm
What
sure.
should our morning look like? Like I go to the gym or work out every morning.
I'm gonna stretch.
non-negotiable.
Yeah.
But I don't want to tire myself out. Like I don't want to do like a big leg day.
Don't do legs, don't do back or chest or arms.
Sure. Like, do I do a quick one? Do
I
I?
I think you do a run that day. Like you get a light workout, lightweight, just feel good day.
Yeah. All right. I'm thinking in real time, but
Yeah,
we're gonna be good. I'm gonna make sure I eat right in the morning. Big breakfast, and we gotta bring it home. Like we have too many listeners listening to this right now who would
yeah,
be upset if we didn't bring home a trophy.
I agree.
I can think of one person who's our one listener
Yeah,
who wants us to win.
yeah.
I don't know who that person is,
Nah, me neither.
but I want to bring the trophy home for
I mean, it's probably me because your account's probably locked.
him.
But
If I ever found out that our one listener was you and they just
yeah,
weren't counting mine,
yeah,
that would be okay because I'm not doing this for reviews. I'm doing this because I'm doing it for the love of books and the
yeah,
love of cornhole
yeah.
and the love of winning.
So second thing that's coming up that's really exciting, and we got it. It's like actually in motion right now. We got Abriana, who's a big fan of the book club.
Shout out.
Shout out. She is
We made it
working.
this far.
She is working on new apparel, for the book club.
Oh my gosh.
So
Oh
new
my gosh.
merch. So keep an eye out.
Oh my God.
But yeah, I mean, I
That's
think
gonna be
that's
big.
yeah.
That's really gonna bring it together.
I think that's all we got today, and just like we said, I mean, keep an open mind about the cats and the massacre. But other than that,
Don't do it.
don't do it now. Different culture, different time.
But keep an open mind.
Keep an open mind about it. 1700s France.
Yeah, we're gonna end here. We'll pick a couple books
Yeah.
and we'll let you know what they are when we send it out because the book selection might be rigorous. We don't just pick any books here. We pick The Great Cat Massacre and other
Yes.
episodes of French cultural history
It'd be
for a
nice
reason.
if someone actually decided like that's listening to read the books and
Just
then join us for the
one,
next podcast.
one person. If you've made it
Yeah.
1 hour, 51 minutes, and 34 seconds in, and we give a book suggestion, at least pretend like you read it.
Yeah.
Or not, that's cool too.
Yeah.
Because we're gonna read it regardless.
And then we'll see you
And
back
that's
here
all.
next week. Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Should
right.
wrap it up.
Peace.
Bye everybody.